What if there's something you haven't learned yet that could change everything? Welcome, everyone. I am Sherry Elise. I am a five-time published author and host of the award-winning talk show Good Morning Joy. And I am here in partnership with Brave Healer Publishing to introduce you to some of their amazing authors in one of their newest books called Journal of a Visionary: Strategies for Next Level Mindset and Manifestation. And before I introduce you to the wonderful woman sitting in front of me, I just want to give a shout out to our lead author, who just so happens to be the CEO of Brave Healer Publishing, Laura DeFranco. Thank you, Laura, so much for bringing this book into the world and gathering these world changing voices. There are so many people out there right now who are visionaries and perhaps just don't have the strategies on how to implement. Whatever that case is, we need the visionary. So thank you for bringing them to us. Let me introduce you to our guest today. Amy Burks is an M&A integration advisor and performance strategist who helps founders and Fortune 500 leaders simplify complexity and turn the human dynamics inside big transitions into force multipliers for growth. Woo, that was a mouthful.
That
Welcome,
sounds so
Amy.
good. You make that sound so good. Thanks,
Really? I'm
Sherry.
like, what did I just say?
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
excited to be here with you. And yeah, and just thank you so much for writing your chapter and offering your wisdom and honestly your vulnerability. I think there's a lot of us that, well, I'll speak for myself, that can relate to what it is that you've been through and being on the verge of potentially losing everything, which we'll get into. But before I start giving it all away, why don't you share with us the name of your chapter and the chapter number and talk to us a little bit about it and your why behind writing it?
Yeah, absolutely. So I wrote chapter 19. Fear is definitely running your strategy, how to find it, simplify, and unlock your next level. And boy, Laura is a dear friend to you and to me. And
Mhm.
when she invited me to be a part of the book, I just couldn't say no. What you were saying earlier about, needing visionaries in the world, I think there's a lot of us out in the world right now that are really interested in trying things differently. I think there's so much up for grabs at the moment in the state of the world. And so if I could provide any sort of insight that might be useful for folks who are considering doing their own thing or doing their own thing differently, easier, better, more simply, then I'm all about it. I live to serve. And the fact is that simply because we're humans, make everything way more complex than it needs to be. And I see it everywhere all the time. And so I feel like my job here on this planet is to help wake people up to the idea that things can be simpler, easier, more fun, more effective, and that we can actually use our humanity as a superpower instead of it being our kryptonite, especially as it relates to how our businesses operate and how we move through the world. And so when Laura said, "Hey, do you want to write a chapter?" I was like, "Are you kidding me? Yes, please. Can't wait. Can't wait."
I love that. Well, first, I love how obviously purpose driven you are and how clear you are about your vision and what you are here to do. I'll just ask, has that always been that clear to you?
Not at all.
Yeah.
I think in some ways, sure. I say all the time jokingly that my career path has been so haphazard and very surprising. And for a long time, as humans do, I really judged myself for the fact that I couldn't like find a job that I loved and stick with it. But the reality was that I was just following my curiosity. And so that part of me remains. That's been a constant is, my sense of wonder, but it used to be really fueled by this kind of external need for validation. I thought I was going to find a job and somebody was going to see my potential and then I was going to, finally like have value in the world. And what I realize now is that it wasn't ever really about that. It's always been the inward journey. And once I really started to learn how to derive that value internally, then everything really changed. And so being driven by purpose, yes, I always felt like there's something more for me here. I think like
Hmm.
most of us humans do, and certainly the ones that are probably watching this are going to read the book. But again, there was a lot of judgment along the way to get me to a place where I could say, oh my gosh, no, this is what I'm here to do. Like, genuinely, I'm here to be curious, to have the experiences, to try the things, to fail, to F it up,
Wow.
to figure it out, and then to like show up in a venue like this, in a book, on a podcast, in the world and say, like, hey, I've tried this thing and it works a lot better if you do it this way. Like, here's all the ways not to do it. Let's try it like this instead. And so now I understand that that's truly my mission, but I had to live it, live it, live it, live it, live it to really get that it was my thing to do in
Yeah.
the world. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love that because I think, as you said, people who are watching this, who are going to buy the book, or, you know, often, if they're a visionary, have the vision, but there are the things that stand in their way from being able to implement it, for narrowing down an idea, for not following through on everything, for not giving up. And you speak specifically in your chapter about fear. Can you talk to us a little bit about what you wrote in your chapter without giving it all away?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Um, so I tell my own story, right, about my journey through fear, and especially as it relates to being a single mom and in my business, and a moment in time where the business was very nearly going to go under. And what I realized was that I had this relationship with fear that I didn't even realize I had. I was in relationship with it without any sort of understanding of it or intentionality, and that my own fear was really running the show. And I think that that is kind of a default way of being for most humans, if not all of us at some point or another. Unless we're the guy that free solos, climbs the buildings on Netflix. He's got like some very literally like different wiring in his brain that allows him to not be afraid. But for the
Although he
rest
might
of
have fear of relationships or something.
us,
Like we all have the
right.
fear.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly, right. But for the rest of us mere mortals, like we show up in life just afraid.
Yes.
And it's not anything to be ashamed of or to feel bad
Hmm.
about. Like this is our wiring. We're actually, an experiment in evolution that hasn't caught up yet. And so our brain is wired to, anticipate a saber-toothed tiger around the corner. And when we see things that are going wrong in our business or in our bank account or in our relationships, then immediately our brain is telling us, like, there is imminent death, destruction, and mayhem on the other side of this. And we are very much so screwed if you don't make the right decision about this. And so, what I learned to do and what I help my clients do is to really get curious about the stuff that we're afraid of, because it is always the thing that's in between us and creation without limits. And so, that is what the chapter is about, is really giving a very simple strategy for how we can identify it and settle it, make friends with it, and then move in a much more powerful way with simplicity, because it's the fear that makes everything so complex and complicated
Yes.
and says we need a dozen gazillion things to get to the place that we're trying to go. And my philosophy, hypothesis, and mantra is that it can be really easy. How much easier can it be? Let's let it be that.
I love that question. How much easier can it be? It's such a
Yeah.
great question. And I loved in your strategy just the questions you put out to us to talk to our fear and to ask the questions. It lit, I remember doing it a long time ago and doing the whole worst case scenario. And that was so powerful to actually, because I think, as you said, most of us live in fear and we come up with the worst case scenarios. And the majority of the time, when things happen, those things that we imagined never happened. And so to be able to actually reflect and sit in it, which is what helped you move forward, I think is such a powerful tool for people in reading this chapter from you.
Yeah.
How did that transform? I mean, you share about it in your chat, but how did that transform your life, being able to sit and have a conversation with your fear?
Yeah, thank you for all of that. And you made such a great point about, what unlocks and becomes possible there when we're willing to just look at it and have the conversations with it and shine the light on it. Because for me, I mean, it's been this like constant, I don't know, constant opportunity all through my life. Like I just keep showing up, and either I notice it, like either I use my self-awareness to pay attention and attend to it, or I don't. And when I do, then I'm like all powerful because I get to
Hmm.
be in the seat of making choices instead of, and like creating from choice rather than creating by default, or not even realizing that I'm just moving through the world without knowing what is driving me. And so, in that scenario, it opened everything up. It created all sorts of opportunities for me to renew my business, to generate six figures again, like all the things that, we are like looking to do in a very logistical sense. But
Hmm.
it also created the opportunity for me to go on this ongoing journey of settling my nervous system and
Yes.
returning to myself and understanding again the difference. It's like so simple when we think about it from a linear logical perspective that either we're, attending to our fear and making choices by like in a powerful way, like really intentionally, or we're not. And then we're just kind of moving through the world by default and it feels like everything's happening to us instead of for us. And there's nothing, again, nothing bad about that. It just tends to be, it's just how we're wired. Like it's how we're
Yeah.
wired to operate. And so when we're able to like understand that, look at it and harness it, then we become all powerful. We can like do anything we want. We could fly.
I love that. I feel lit up right now. I'm like creation with no limits. So you mentioned curiosity being a driver for you and almost a superpower, which I think is the mark of a master is having a beginner's mindset. And most visionaries have that curiosity. Besides that one, is there another superpower of yours that you think that you use to serve every day?
Oh, it's such a great question. I mean, certainly curiosity and wonder are like top,
Hmm.
top, top. I would
Yeah.
say that alongside that, having, I think, willingness. A friend of mine years ago
Ugh.
was saying that she was when she was dating, still dating before she got married, she was like, had a whole list of all the qualities that she was looking for in her mate. And finally she realized that the one thing that mattered most was that her ideal partner was willing. And so I think this is that thing about like, are we willing to meet our fear? Are we willing to take a risk? Are we willing to look at ourselves? Are we willing to go inward to the places that feel really icky and uncomfortable? And I don't know about that. So I think alongside our curiosity and our wonder, having that willingness to just say, okay, I can be with this for now, or okay, I can take this step that feels really, really scary right now. Because we know ultimately with more and more and more proof, we're not like we think we're gonna die, but we're not. And
Right.
and we don't. And then every time we prove that we don't, then our nervous system settle more and more and more, and we get the efficacy that we can keep moving and keep taking steps. And so I think curiosity and wonder plus willingness equals the, ultimate in power
Love it.
and creation. Yeah.
Yeah, willingness is one of my favorite words. I always say that it unlocks all doors. It unlocks. And it's just like I see doors just swinging open when you are willing in any area of your life. Before we head out, tell me what is the most important thing that you want people listening right now to know about fear running your strategy?
Mm. Oh, I mean, I feel like I'm just going to sound like a broken record. Such a great question. I think it's that we are all powerful. If there were one thing, right? If there were one thing to take away, it's that we are all powerful and that the through line to that power is always going to be how and if we meet our fear. And so the how being by taking curiosity and wonder and bringing it to the table, allowing ourselves to have a conversation and see what's under there. And then once we have that, that realization, right? The willingness to do so or to act on it, like to behave differently, to choose differently. So I think knowing that that power exists within us, it's all right here, and that these two corresponding tools are like the magic sauce to activating and unlocking unlimited potential, like you said.
Mm.
I mean, if more people can really um, hear it and embrace it and embody it, then man, the world would be such an awesome place, wouldn't
Yes.
it? Holy mackerel,
Yes.
what could be possible?
Love it. Love
Yeah.
it. Thank you for bringing your wisdom and your vision, not only to this book, but to the world, for being here to share it with everyone. To our listeners, please know that this is way more than a book. Brave Healer Community is a generous community who is here for you to answer questions, carry on conversations, and to support you on your journey. If anything that we spoke about today resonated with you, make sure that you drop down to the comments. We have shared Amy's link with you. And then also, of course, go hop on over to Amazon and grab a copy of this amazing book. The link is also below. And lastly, everyone here in the Brave Healer community wants you to know that your words will change the world when you're brave enough to share them. It's time to be brave. We'll see you next time, everyone. Thank you so much, Amy.
Thanks, Sherry.
Thank you.